Should you take a break from working out? Yes and no. As always, there are levels. For starters, there's obviously a big difference between someone who's super consistent and someone who's not consistent with exercise. I mean, that's a dead giveaway. Like, for example, if you're a gym rat like me, the pros of taking time off are better recovery because of less inflammation, possibly better results over the long term, less risk of injury, and a nice little change of pace. If you're a competitive athlete, then you definitely need to take periodic breaks from your regular training routine, because the risk for overuse injuries is very high if you compete. This is why I tell all my coaching clients that if you want to be healthy, don't compete. My body always felt broken when I was a competitive weightlifter. The only con when you take a break from exercise is you lose some of the mental health benefits that you can gain from it. It's important to mention that because these days, I work out more for the mental effects than the physical. Don't get me wrong, maintaining a physique that I'm proud of is still pretty important, but I'm not trying to break world records at the gym anymore. Again, there's a price to pay for performance. Like these days, rarely do I go past 70 or 75% of my max numbers. Like when I'm at the gym, whether I'm lifting weights or I'm doing Muay Thai, it's basically active meditation for me. It gets me in a state of flow. It makes me feel good. And that's another general rule of training, by the way. You should always feel better after training. If you feel worse, that means you overdid it, and most people do. And let's talk about Muay Thai quickly since it's 95% cardio based. This should apply to everyone watching this who's doing anything cardio based. I've mentioned before in my previous videos that there's nothing inherently wrong with doing cardio. As you can see, I'm not anti-cardio because I do Muay Thai. But you have to do cardio properly and you have to supplement it with resistance training. The problem is, most people overdo cardio and don't lift. That combination can actually do more harm than good. According to Dr. James O'Keefe, who's a cardiologist, a surprising amount of seasoned marathoners with six-pack abs and healthy blood profiles are showing increased scarring and thickening of their arterial walls caused by chronic exercise-driven inflammation. My point is, just because everything looks good on the outside doesn't mean that everything is fine on the inside. It's called excessive endurance exercise hypothesis. This is why you see the same people just doing cardio every day, but they look the same. They make zero gains or even negative gains over a lifetime. I mean, that's a pretty bad deal if you ask me. Like I said, you need to do cardio properly. Whenever I do Muay Thai, which is about 3 to 4 days a week, I never go past my maximum aerobic heart rate, which is 180 minus your age in case you're wondering. It's 145 beats per minute for me because I'm 35. If you don't have any tech to measure heart rate, it's not a big deal. The pulse test or even a nose breathing test also works. You need to be able to breathe through your nose when you do cardio. In terms of effort, do it at around 70% intensity. That almost guarantees to get you into a state of flow where it almost feels effortless. It feels more like play. But if you're huffing and puffing and you're breathing like a dog, you're definitely overdoing it. Like, not every workout needs to be a near-death experience for it to be effective. Every once in a while to trigger a fitness adaptation, sure, go all out. But if you go max effort every day for the sake of burning calories, you'll most likely do more harm than good. It's usually the reason why people feel the need to take a break from exercise because they feel burnt out. Yeah, no kidding. And because I do exercise more for the mental health benefits, if I don't go to the gym for 2 weeks, you're gonna see a change in my personality, and not in a good way. To remedy that, I do a lot of active recovery stuff, which we'll talk about in a second. Now, let's talk about the people that are inconsistent, which is about 95% of the population. Like, a majority of people already struggle with consistency. That's just the reality of it. Like, the average person only works out twice a week. If that's you right now, that's okay. I really wouldn't think about intentionally taking time off because the reality is it's gonna happen anyway. Now, if you're a gym rat like me and you're addicted to training and you rarely ever take time off, there's tremendous value in maybe taking a week off. Again, there are levels. I wouldn't recommend taking a week off completely where you're absolutely doing nothing. No, that's not what I mean. Again, the mental health benefits of exercise is unquantifiable. I would not recommend doing absolutely nothing. Like, to me, that's definitely taking a step in the wrong direction. I would absolutely still do active recovery type of activities. Maybe you increase your walking steps and do some nature bathing. Almost everyone will benefit from that. Nature or forest bathing has been scientifically proven to reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. There's also a dose response benefit, which means that the more you do it, the better. It's a big part of my self-care routine. So get your park prescription in. You can also spend time doing mobility work, do some foam rolling and static stretches, and really other things that involves moving your body. There was actually a study mentioned from the book Resistance Training Revolution where they had two groups doing resistance training. They had one group that never missed a day for 3 months, and they had another group that for every third week, they took a week off. That is a lot. That's 25% less work. So when you think about that over the course of 3 months, they're missing almost a month of training. The interesting thing is the latter group that trained 25% less because they got the time off got the same results. There was no difference between the two after 3 months, which just shows how important that week of rest was and how beneficial it can be long term. Because as with a lot of things, quality beats quantity. And I keep going back to this because it's super important. For those people that get the mental boost from physical activity, keep moving even if you're taking time off from training. Keep doing physical stuff, just keep it super easy and super light. Like we're talking 30% capacity max. That way you'll still get the mental benefits of moving and engaging your body because movement is medicine. I try to mention the Hadza in Tanzania a lot in my videos because they're some of the last remaining hunter-gatherers left on the planet, and they basically act as a time machine to the past. According to a study done by Herman Ponzer, an anthropologist, Hadza men and women walk 4 to 7 miles a day hunting wild game, harvesting honey, digging for tubers, picking berries, or fetching water and firewood. The Hadza get more activity in a day than the standard American gets in a week. By most measures, they enjoy superb health. Obesity is rare. Heart disease and diabetes are almost unheard of. Their waistlines don't expand, nor do their blood pressures creep up with age. Adults often live into their 60s, 70s, and even 80s without the benefit of statins or urgent care centers. Like I said, they're a time machine. And they don't have access to fancy exercise machines or spin studios, and they're doing just fine. Their diet also consists of eating animals nose to tail. They treat the organ meat as the prized part of the animal, especially the liver, because they inherently know how nutrient dense it is. They also eat raw honey when they can find it, as well as fruit. And then they would eat tubers as kind of a fallback food. Their diet should teach us something in terms of what an evolutionary consistent diet is for our species. But for the point of this video, what I'm trying to say is it's important to keep that habit of movement going. Like if the Hadza stopped moving, they would starve to death. Because here's the thing. It's already hard enough to develop the discipline of training and sticking to a workout routine. I would keep that going and just do something else instead of lifting heavy and doing super intense workouts, which again, you shouldn't overdo to begin with. Maybe you just go to the gym and walk on the treadmill. Maybe you can try walking backwards with the treadmill turned off to strengthen your feet, knees, and hamstrings. In that regard, you can also try walking backwards with a sled. The whole walking backwards concept is something I got from Ben Patrick, aka Knees Over Toes Guy on social media, and his stuff is super fascinating. I'm a believer. He's way ahead of the curve when it comes to this stuff. Again, you can also go for a walk outside and get some sun on your skin. Get in some forest bathing. It's so good for you. Like I recently discovered that sun exposure could actually affect the gut microbiome in a positive way. Like how cool is that? And I've said this a million times. The sun is your friend. I mean, it only helps regulate your 20,000 genes, including your all-important circadian clock. Other than that, it's not a big deal. Maybe you can do other activities as well, like going for a bike ride or going for a swim. Maybe spend some time in a sauna, which could actually mimic some of the benefits of exercise. It activates heat shock proteins in your body. You can jump in a cold lake for a couple of minutes for some cold therapy, which also brings a boatload of benefits, like activating brown fat, which is very dense in mitochondria. It's a type of fat that burns fat. Just keep that habit you've worked so hard to build of showing up for yourself every day. Stay consistent. Just tone down the intensity. Now, if you've got a week-long vacation to Mexico, let's say, then don't worry about it too much. If anything, a lot of people actually get more activity when they're on vacation because they're walking around more. It gets people out of their sedentary lifestyle. Personally, when I'm on vacation, I'll still pack my training gear because I'm a nerd. Again, training is just part of my DNA at this point. Either I look for a Muay Thai gym or a CrossFit/weightlifting gym ahead of time. It's also a great way to meet like-minded locals in the area. At worst, I'll still usually do some sort of workout at the hotel gym. And that's kind of one of my prerequisites when I'm looking for a place, is the hotel needs to have a gym. even though most hotel gyms are trash. I always get a laugh when I see what some of these hotels consider a gym. But again, I'm not training anywhere near the intensity, volume, or whatever. I'm honestly just there to move. It basically kind of becomes a de facto deload week for me. And when I come home, I always feel 10 times better because I didn't stop moving my body. Again, movement is medicine. In fact, movement is life. I mean, think about it. Life ceases to exist when you stop moving permanently. So yes, definitely take time off. But you should still do low intensity activity to keep your body, especially your mind, happy. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that video and you want to keep doing a deep dive because there's so much more to learn, then you're gonna love this one. We're just getting warmed up. All right, I'll see you there.